What do you think that?
Here. But the statement itself assumes that the negotiator holds the power because they have the power to affect.
That is true. I don't know why this second just sounds better. And I feel like I can almost feel like a relationship, maybe.
In just regular communication, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy how subtle it is. And then two, it's like a preemptive measure. You need to say something, and this is just to let them know it's not the best news that you're bringing, unfortunately. Also, the natural reaction to option two is, oh, okay, well, that wasn't that bad. Let's try another one. This can be used when talking to family members of hostages or even the hostage takers themselves. So when they're delivering horrendous news to them, do you say, one, you sound angry, or two, I know you're angry?
I know you're angry.
Yes. One is going to get you the response of, yeah, you bozo, you're the one that pissed me off. Or even, of course I'm angry, you idiot, you made me angry. But with two, you're more likely to get a response of, yeah, and what are you going to do about it? That at least gives the hostage negotiator an opportunity to make it right.
Wait, can you say those two again?
You sound angry. I know you're angry. It's so subtle. It's crazy. This is what the hostage negotiators from the FBI were talking about. It's just switching a few words, and that makes or breaks a hostage negotiation. Because in a hostage situation, not talking about the anger does not make it go away. Anger is the elephant in the room, so you just need to address it in a way that doesn't escalate the situation. And last question, before we get started, do you know what the F-bomb is in negotiations? It's like the one word that you cannot abuse, but it is incredibly overused in almost all negotiations, business, relationships, friendships, colleagues, everywhere.
It's used too much.
Used too much.
And it's not good.
No.
The F-bomb.
F-bomb. What do you want in a negotiation? Even business negotiation.
What do I want?
What do both parties want?
Okay, so it needs to be a win-win. It needs to be a fair.
Fair is the F-bomb. Hostage negotiator Chris Voss said that there are three types of ways to use the word fair, and only one of them is correct. Can you guess which one? One, we just want what's fair for everyone. Fair for you, fair for us. We want both parties to be happy and healthy. Two, we've given you a fair offer. This is the best we can do. I really tried to get the best deal for you. I really did. Three, I want you to feel like you're being treated fairly. So please stop me at any time if you feel like I'm being unfair.
Yeah. The third one sounds so much better.
Yeah, so he said that don't even use that word unless you're using it so correctly, like the third one. So for one, it's wrong because the implication of like, I want what's fair for both of us, whoever utters those words is already admitting loss. They've already got the short end of the stick. That means they already feel like you're scamming them. Two is wrong because it's almost condescending. But trust me, this is a fair deal. This is the best you're gonna get. It's like, you don't know it, but I'm letting you know this is the best. Three is the best because it disarms someone. It makes you seem like a person of integrity and very reasonable to work with. Because at the end of the day, everyone wants to be treated fairly. They want what's fair. But what is fair when you've taken 4 teenage hostages by gunpoint? It's 1 p.m. on a Monday. 15-year-old Aloha and her 3 best friends, Nayara, that's her best friend, okay? She calls her Barbie because of her blonde hair. And then 2 guy friends from school. They're over at Aloha's family apartment and they're just finishing up their geography homework. It's not chaotic, but there's like a nice, lively energy in the place. There's music playing in the background. They were hungry, so they just ate lunch, and the smell of food is lingering. Aloha is going around doing some chores around the house. Her little brother and parents won't be home till later, so she's trying to get as much done as possible. She's making the bed, putting clothes away, running the laundry, running the dishes, and suddenly the door flings open, and there is a man standing in the doorway. He's just standing in the doorway, staring at them. Aside from the fact that he just burst into the apartment uninvited, his body language is unsettling. His posture is unnaturally rigid. He's scanning the room like he's looking for something or someone. But most unsettling of all, he's got a gun in his hand. And he was looking for Aloha. He is Aloha's stalker. And for a split second, everybody's frozen. I mean, the stalker is in the doorway, and finally he opens his mouth and he says, "Oh boy, you're all in the wrong place at the wrong time. I came to kill Aloha." The man jumps into action. He flings his body across the room and he slaps the two teenage boys across the face. He slams the butt of the gun down on their heads. Sit down on the bed. Sit down. He grabs Aloha by her arm and in front of her school classmates, he just starts beating her viciously, excessively, kicking her, punching her, slapping her. Her three friends are just sitting on the bed terrified. They're screaming for help, and then he fires the gun at the door and they go silent because this man is not joking around. His eyes are bulging out of his face and he's whipping the gun around like it's just like a bandana or like a flag that you would wave around in the air. I'm gonna kill Aloha and then myself. And with that, the clock has started. It is time for negotiations. The first hour of a hostage situation is the most crucial. If you were to see the state of emotions during a hostage situation over time, one of the highest peaks would be at the first hour. Highest emotion, highest risk, highest consequences. The hostage taker in the first hour usually feels a massive surge of adrenaline. It's almost euphoric. The feeling of complete power and control. Adrenaline levels will shoot up 500% above baseline. 500% of like what you and I feel right now times 500% in adrenaline. To give you an idea, our levels only increase 500% in severe life-threatening situations, like if a shark is swimming straight at you with their teeth showing, or if you're in the middle of an earthquake and the building is collapsing. That is when your adrenaline peaks 500% above baseline. Your senses are so alert, so heightened, you almost feel like you have super hearing, like you became a superhero. You can hear 3 apartment units down from you, every creak. Things seem brighter in color. Your brain tricks you into thinking you've never been so clear-minded. Your brain might even trick you into becoming blind to the reality of fatality, to death. It said dopamine levels can increase by 50%. That's your brain's feelings of reward, motivation, and sense of power. Your serotonin levels, your happy chemicals, rise 20 to 30%, which is an increase of you just feel happy in this situation. You're likely to feel 70 to 80% more self-assured than usual as a hostage taker in the first hour alone. Now, the dangerous part of all of this is what goes up must come down, and it comes down really quick. It's not even in the first hour. Sometimes it comes down in 10 minutes. And once you're back down to baseline, it's going to feel horrendous. You're going to start sweating profusely from the increased anxiety. You might feel trembling and nausea. The amygdala, the brain's fear center, it's like a tiny almond-shaped panic button. It starts going off nonstop. The fire alarm, the sprinklers inside your brain, and technically your body, because you're sweating a lot. You can't get your breath. It feels like you ran a marathon. You could hear thumping in your ears. It sounds like there's a drum playing in your chest. Your whole body is just slick with sweat. Your hands are shaking and you're trying to hold your gun steady, but it's about to fall out because you're so sweaty and you're shaking. You keep rolling your neck because the tension is so, you just feel so sore. It feels like you've been carrying a heavy backpack of rocks all day long. The tension starts leading to headaches, and you just want to scream, shut up, everyone, let me think for a second. Even when nobody's... Attention span decreases 25 to 35%. Field of vision narrows 20 to 30%. Working memory decreases by 20 to 30%. Your brain is trying to work through 5 to 10 potential plans or possible outcomes per minute. Because your brain is trying to anticipate the reaction of the hostages, the police, the negotiators, because at the end of the day, even if you're an evil person, your brain is trying to protect you. Any little mistake, any little oversight, life or death. Now, there are 3 sides to each hostage situation: the hostage taker, the hostage, and the hostage negotiator. And the power will actually ebb and flow between the 3 parties. Sometimes it changes on a daily basis or even a minute-by-minute, second-by-second basis who holds the power. And unfortunately, the person with the most power is the one with the least to lose. In Brazil, there is a special tactical action group called GATE. So they focus on hostage situations. It would be comparable, I don't know if comparable in skill and training, but comparable to the US's FBI hostage negotiation team. 70 GATE officers, they would show up, surround the apartment building, and set up HQ at the school nearby, headquarters, the command center. The school that Aloha and the 3 others went to, that's the command center. The hostage negotiator's job is to understand all the emotions, the power plays from what's going on inside that apartment and try to get everyone to walk out alive. They're focused on strategy and mind games. But GATE also called on a tactical team. They're focused on trying to get in and disarm the hostage taker whenever they see an opportunity. Strategy and snipers. Very different teams that have to work together to de-escalate. Their motto for GATE is time, patience, and calm. Then you have the hostage taker, armed, dangerous, and usually mad, sad, and mentally mad. That's how they describe them.
Mad, sad, and mentally
Mad,
mad.
mentally ill. Yeah. And all they want is something. Demands for money. Give me $100,000 and I'll let your daughter go. Give me a getaway car and a duffel bag of untrackable hundreds and I'll let the big tellers go. Do they want release or exchange of people? Let inmate John Doe go from Rikers prison and I'll let my hostage go. Or maybe it's religious or political. Air my sermons on national television and I will release the kids. That was a real demand from a religious cult leader. The prime minister steps down or else someone's getting shot. And then you have the hostages. Every day, both hostage taker and hostage negotiator will argue about the value of the hostage's life with none of their input. But their power is in their existence. They're as powerful as much as the hostage negotiators think their life is worth, which is a very scary situation to be in. But in this case, there's actually a fourth group, the press. This is the case of the very first almost live-streamed hostage situation, broadcast on live television in real time with a live audience outside the apartment building, watching in real time, cheering for one side or the other like they're watching a baseball game. The press seemingly right off the bat, they knew that there was a hostage situation. They rushed over to the apartment. They ran through the same process the hostage negotiators did, which is identify the hostages inside. This is Aloha Pimentel's apartment, so likely the hostage taker came for her specifically. Their next course of action, same with GATE, was to track down every single person that was ever in Aloha's life, to get exclusive interviews with them to air in real time. That potentially even Aloha herself would be watching her inside the apartment. They could even ask, do you want to say something to Aloha? That would be good TV. So journalists, they managed to track down Aloha's ex-boyfriend, which was likely the most interesting person in terms of news coverage. I mean, forget a classmate, forget a teacher, ex-boyfriend? And they start spinning together this whole story. Star-crossed lovers. But once she gets out of there, once this whole thing is over and she's no longer being held hostage, they're going to get back together and it's going to be the wedding of the century. Hostage freed, freed hostage bride. Think about that. They will have this realization, the both of them, that they miss each other, that they cannot live without each other. That was the story that the news was spinning. One expert media attorney stated on air, I'm very optimistic. I hope it all ends well, and I hope that there will be a wedding for him and Aloha, his passionate ex-girlfriend, somewhere in the future. I really hope that this all has a happy ending, and I'm certain it will. Well, we do have Lindenberg, Aloha's ex, on the line right now. This is a live phone conversation aired on live television. Lindenberg, how are you feeling? What do you want to tell the people about your ex, Aloha? What's going on? People might not believe me, but right now, I'm not thinking about me or anyone else. I'm just thinking about Aloha's life. I believe that. He really likes her. She's your girlfriend for a very long time, right? That's right. 2 years and 7 months. The media is a circus. You know, they make up a lot of things that aren't true. But regardless, Aloha's ex-boyfriend, Lindenberg, was very helpful over the phone. He said, I'm positive that this is going to end in the best way possible. The journalist smiled and tried to sympathize with him so that she could keep him on the phone. And near the end of the phone call, she pauses, maybe to verify that the cameras are still rolling, that they're still live. And she asks through the phone, wait, Lindenberg, before you hang up, can you let me speak to Aloha for a little bit? 1 minute. You get 1 minute. Talk, Aloha. The journalist looks hesitant. Aloha? And then the call cuts. Aloha's at the bus stop staring. I mean, everywhere Aloha went, Lindenberg went. And this is before the hostage situation. This is when he was just her stalker, not her hostage taker. If Aloha was getting out of class, he would ride his motorcycle very slowly near her school until he spots her in her little backpack. Then he would speed up and then slow down only when he gets so close enough that he's basically riding his motorcycle while she's walking. And he doesn't even talk to her. He just stares her down the whole way through, refuses to leave. Even if she starts running, he steps on the pedal a tiny bit. He just wants to ride right next to her, staring her down, going 2 miles per hour, never saying a word. Aloha naturally was terrified. She would find all these new routes to take home so that she would try to escape him, that he wouldn't come and see her out of school. She would sneak around the alleyways, trying to find busy pockets where he can't even ride his motorcycle into. It was absolutely, utterly miserable. Everywhere she went, she felt like she had eyes tracking her. She would start second guessing every word that she said, every facial expression that she made. She felt the need to analyze things. And to him, that's not even enough. The phone at home would start ringing. Aloha's mom, Anna, would pick up. Hello? If your daughter does not see me, I will take desperate measures. Desperate. Anna, Aloha's mom, would just hang up the phone. Aloha's ex-boyfriend, Lindenberg, he was just always had a flair for being dramatic. He would say these things, he just really liked attention. At worst case scenario, maybe he would harm himself. And that's a big problem, but she doubted it. But even if he did, is that really her problem? Her priority is her child, and he's a full-grown adult. Aloha, she felt like a hostage before she was even taken hostage. A few weekends before Lindenberg walked into the apartment and slammed the door shut, she was standing at a bus station, scrolling on her phone, when she feels something weird. She feels watched. She looks up and down the other side, and then across the street she sees Lindenberg just standing there, staring at her. Her eyebrows crinkle, she's holding onto multiple textbooks, heavy textbooks in her arms, and she's waiting for the bus. Or at least she thought, okay, maybe this will be a good shield, because Lindenberg is now crossing the street and heading straight for her. Get back together with me. What? No. Aloha wasn't going to do that. I made a lot of mistakes, but I love you. You know that, right? Aloha tried to ignore him. She didn't want to talk to him or see him ever again. She thought, okay, I thought I made this very, very clear. But Lindenberg loses his temper. He just starts yelling, threatening her, slapping her across the face, throwing her books all over the floor. And Aloha just stands there shocked. This is the first time he's been violent with her. And she runs back home crying. She runs in through the family door, slams it shut. The picture frames on the walls are probably shaking. She books it straight for her room. Her face is red and swollen from crying. And Douglas, Aloha's little brother, tries to knock on her door. Are you okay? Is everything all right in there? She doesn't respond. Douglas has a pretty strong gut feeling, like a very bad gut feeling about this one. He thought Lindenberg was the one doing this to his sister. So he decides to camp outside the apartment building to make sure that he doesn't show up until his parents get home. And Douglas would sit on the curb, angry with himself, because he was the one that introduced 20-year-old Lindenberg to his 12-year-old sister. When Aloha's parents had gotten home, they were so enraged, they called Lindenberg and they demanded an apology, and he just told them, well, I could do a whole lot worse. Trust me. Now, in the tiny little apartment, Aloha is squeezed onto the bed with 3 of her friends. She's trying to calm Lindenberg down. Initially, very briefly, she does try to tell him what he wants to hear, or at least what she thinks he wants to hear. I mean, she doesn't really know for sure what to do in this type of situation. Lindenberg is... A lot of people use the word manic translated to describe him. I try not to use that word lightly, but it's said that a lot of hostage takers do display signs of mania during the first few hours. There's a sense of barely contained chaos that's just ready to burst out. They become almost to an unseasoned negotiator. They seem 1,000% entirely unpredictable. I'll get back together with you. It's going to be okay. We can try to figure this out, calm down, and we can talk about it, just you and I. No, now I don't want that anymore. I don't want you anymore. I came here to kill you, and I'm gonna kill you. And then Lindenberg would have a new change of plans. Either he was gonna kill Aloha, or he was gonna kill Aloha's friends in front of Aloha so that Aloha could suffer, or he was gonna kill all of them. He looks around and he spots Nayara, the other girl hostage, the only other girl in the apartment. Her. It's gonna be her. Nayara could feel it. He was gonna choose to kill her. Lindenberg always complained to Aloha that she listened to Nayara too much, that Nayara was a bad influence, that always told her to break up with Lindenberg, but none of that was even true. But it's not like he cares, right? He makes them all lay down. He grabs shirts from the laundry, ties them together, uses them to tie up the hostage's legs and arms, and then they wait. If you ever visit my house, don't open my closet. I may have a problem because I have been buying some clothes here and there, and then I never get around to organizing them for whatever reason, and I don't even wear most of them because I don't know where they are and I don't know what pile it's in, and that's the worst part. But at least it's only a one-time purchase, right? Imagine if I was paying for those clothes that I never use every single month, over and over again. That sounds like a nightmare. But that is also what most people are doing every single month with their subscriptions. Most people subscribe to a website or service and completely forget about it, and your money goes down the drain. Or worse, you pay twice for the same service. I used to be those people until I started using Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so that you can grow your savings. Rocket Money saves me a lot of money, but also they save tried the app. I thought maybe I'd have like 2 inactive subscriptions, 17 minutes per previous 5 million users. That's wrong. Making you dumber than me will always hurt me. But that doesn't mean you should know everything, right? Or at least as much as you can. But never make the hostage taker feel like you know something that they don't know, that you know a lot more, that you're smarter than them. You need to use every piece of information to your advantage and reveal it piece by piece, bit by bit, by calculated, controlled ways to the hostage taker. If you reveal too much information at once, you've shown them everything you have, and you're putting them on the defense. They feel threatened, which is never good. If you don't know much at all, well, you're just flat out at a disadvantage. The first things hostage negotiators typically go for: profiles. Profiles of the hostage taker and all the hostages, and floor plans. What does the inside of that apartment look like? I need that information now. How was Gate alerted of the hostage situation so early on? There were 4 hostages in the apartment, all teenagers. Aloha and her 3 friends. One of the hostages, the guy ones, was named Victor. Victor told his dad that he'd be coming home at around 5 p.m. after spending the day at Aloha's doing homework. He never made it home. Victor's dad, being protective, came to Aloha's to see if something was keeping him. He walked up to the apartment door, knocked, knock. Nothing. He's about to turn and walk away, but he heard weird noises coming from the other side of the door. It's unclear what noises he heard, but it was enough to make him pause and go, "That's a bit strange." That's what he said. It just sounded strange. He thought something wasn't right. So whether he heard screaming or sounds of beating, I don't know, but he wanted to get into that apartment. So he tries to break down the door by kicking it in, and someone on the other side of the door screams, "Who's out there? Don't come near the door. Don't try to do anything, or else I will kill everyone in this room." Victor's dad runs downstairs, fumbling with his phone, trying to call the police, but there happened to be a police car sitting at the complex. He flags down the officer, Sergeant Valeriano. We're going to call him Sergeant V. He gets out of his patrol car, makes his way to the apartment door, hoping that he's going to de-escalate the situation. But instead, he hears the same voice: "Get away or I'll kill them all." Sergeant V pauses. He's like, "I need a moment to think because I can't. I'm too rash." Perpetrator fires in the direction of the door. Thankfully, nobody was hit. Sergeant V gets on the radio to call for urgent backup. Perpetrator hears the radio, is agitated, fires again through the door. Thankfully, he missed once more. However, neighbors heard the commotion. They start coming out of their units to investigate. They call their friends from other apartment buildings, their buddies and their sisters and brothers. Some call the police, some call the journalists, and now they're forming a small group at the base of the building to try and see if they can get into the unit or see into the unit. It is a live crowd watching a hostage situation. So who's the main hostage in this case? That's what the police need to know when they get on the scene. And what did the hostage taker come for? 15-year-old Aloha Pimentel. Her classmates say that she's bright, happy, but incredibly shy. She doesn't talk much. She's closest with her mom. They're practically joined at the hip before this. Favorite activity was shoe shopping. Aloha would be allowed to try on high heels and walk around the department store like a little fashion show. Family dynamic. Parents, Anna and Aldo. 2 younger brothers, Ronixon and Douglas. The whole family seems to know the hostage taker. His name is Lindenberg, likely introduced to the Pimentels through the little brother Douglas, the younger brother of Aloha. And Lindenberg, the hostage taker, short-tempered, he likes to play soccer, but neighbors say that all of his games are cut short because he would get into a fist fight at the end. He works 2 jobs, one as a delivery guy during the day, and at night he does pizza deliveries. And right now, dangerous, armed, with a giant plastic bag of ammunition. He came prepared. It appears he went in with the intention of staying alive. It is likely that this situation was triggered by a breakup between the 2 of them. And when I say those words, I'm not saying that's a reasonable reason. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying Lindenberg likely felt that this is why he had to do what he had to do. That's what the hostage negotiators are also picking up on. But some neighbors would report to the police that they saw this coming. They said that every night Aloha's parents were at home or they were asleep in their apartment, Aloha and Lindenberg would meet in the parking lot and just scream fight in each other's faces. And it was just always a strange pairing to begin with, the 2 of them. Aside from the 8-year age gap, they just weren't a pairing that made sense in everybody's mind. They were opposites, but not in like the cute, oh my god, they're each other's halves. No, in like the, she's way too good for him, what does she even see in him? She's incredibly sweet, and he's just obnoxious and aggressive and just kind of vile.
And he's 20 and she's 12.
Exactly. Like that again, that's just aside from the alarming age gap. Obviously, Aloha's parents hated this relationship. They were disgusted by it. I don't even think that they were thrilled that their son Douglas had a 20-year-old friend. But apparently they played soccer together, and that's how they all met. But this is their daughter, and at first they thought, absolutely not. We're going to do whatever it takes to make sure she's not dating a 20-year-old. But it's not that easy. When is the last time you told a 12-year-old to stop doing something and they stopped doing it? Aloha's parents ran through all the different outcomes in their head, and they're thinking, okay, this is probably the safest. We're going to let her date him, but there's going to be a lot of rules. Curfew's at 10. You only meet in the house when you're on a date, if it's just you two. If you ever leave the house to go on a dinner date, a lunch date, a bowling date, you take Douglas with you. And the door always stays open. That is the only way this is allowed. Because they didn't want her sneaking out and doing these things. So for the next 2+ years, Aloha's parents actually started seeing Lindenberg as one of their own kids. He was just always around. But there was this very unsettling incident. Aloha's mom decided to have lunch with Lindenberg's mom one day. And, the kids are close, but the families aren't that close. And it's like she was giving Aloha's mom a warning. She said, he can be an altered person. He likes to play the role of head of the house. And unfortunately, Aloha's parents didn't know this, but from the very beginning of their relationship, obviously, it was all about power. I mean, Lindenberg is 8 years older than Aloha. You don't date someone who's 12 when you're 20 unless you're sick in the head, but also you have a weird, strong yearning for power. That type of power dynamic is just bizarre. It is almost complete and total power that you're chasing. And the rules were as follow. Aloha was never to speak to a friend without him present, even if it's a girlfriend. So long as Lindenberg is not there, why should Aloha be enjoying herself? Why should she be even talking at all? Family dinners, same thing. If Lindenberg isn't invited, is it really a family dinner? Why would Aloha need to attend? If she wanted to do anything other than study, sleep, or just sit there staring at the wall thinking about Lindenberg should know about it, approve it, and better yet, be there for it. Aloha was not allowed to do anything without his presence. Those are some insane rules to even try and enforce, which ironically, Lindenberg of course did not abide by the same rules. One anonymous friend stated that Lindenberg was always at the club on the weekends without Aloha. The only reason that the relationship lasted 3 years was because Lindenberg is a master manipulator. He would love bomb Aloha, break up with her, make it seem like she was the horrendous one, and that she had broken his heart. Then the next day he would come back begging for forgiveness, or sometimes he would just talk to her the next day as if they didn't break up last night. And she would just be so confused. This constant back and forth was this crazy push and pull experience that Lindenberg had complete power over until one day, Aloha was over it. She's like, I'm not doing this anymore. She went to her mom's room one night. Mom's like, what's wrong, sweetie? Mom, you're right. I don't want to date anymore. I just want to focus on studying and focus on my friendships. Aloha did not tell her all of these other details. These would come out later. So once the police, they gather all this information, then they're working to calm down the press, the public, the families, and anyone else that could be watching the police from the news. Every word that the agents even deliver to a journalist has to be super calculated. Likely the hostage taker is listening. The family members of the hostage taker and the hostages are listening. Everybody's involved. It's very delicate. The police stood in front of the press. We have a lot of different tactics that could be used in this case, and if there are signs that the hostages' lives are in danger, we will take more drastic measures. But in our current situation, the best we can do is move on with the negotiations. We are optimistic that we will solve this situation. That is all. Thank you. Sergeant V is going to be the one primarily talking to Lindenberg. Not because he's a hostage negotiator, but because a lot of the times, interesting rule of thumb is, regardless of ranking, first law enforcement officer to have contact with the hostage taker is usually handling a lot of the vocal conversations. They're heavily involved.
Really?
They might introduce the main hostage negotiator, but they're still going to be giving calls and saying certain things.
That's so interesting.
I guess that's the first person on the scene. So there is a little bit more of a, I wonder if it's subliminal.
A little bit of trust.
Subconsciously, like, since the beginning, not just a rando big shot that was called in. Even if they're not trained in hostage negotiations, it's just a level of trust. It's very interesting. But he would have the hostage negotiators just instructing everything that he's doing word for word. They probably went through rigorous training, hopefully at one of the top 2 hostage negotiation training centers in the world. The Bureau is one, the FBI Training Center for Hostage Negotiations, and Scotland Yard's in London. So apparently those are the most reputable, most rigorous programs. Because if they had gone, they would have gone through very intense, high-stakes trials. 60 seconds or she dies. That's the exercise FBI hostage negotiators will go through during training over and over again. 60 seconds or she dies. They're taught every phone conversation, every word has weight in a hostage negotiation. A negotiator has to know how to convey the message they want in the quickest, most effective way. They might go in ready to say things like, I want to see you survive this, you know? Whatever else goes with that, let's pick a point in the future. 5 years from now, a year from now, that we're both good, that we're both happy, and then let's work our way back. Why? Because people make their decisions based on their vision of the future. Find out what their vision of the future is and then remove yourself as a threat. They might continue. We're on opposite sides of the fence right now, but that's not going to stop us from being together on the same side in the future. The biggest differences between conversations and negotiations are conversations are about exploring. There's no set goal. Negotiations are all about closure and resolution. There is a goal and there's a ticking time bomb. Do you know the most powerful tool in any verbal communication? Your voice. The literal sound and inflections and how you draw out your words and your cadence, the tone, all that plays a role in being a good hostage negotiator. Some of them, you listen to them on podcasts, they have such a soothing voice where it's almost a slightly authoritative, but not too overly powerful voice. It's like right in the middle. It's not too soft. The 3 voices of negotiations are as follows. Late night radio host, positive, playful friend, and assertive, direct communicator. The key identifiers in the late night radio host voices being the voice of calm and reason. I'm your host for this midnight show. It sounds like that. It's a soft down inflection at the end of every sentence. It's authority without triggering defensiveness. But you don't go without triggering defensiveness. Then there's the playful, positive friend voice. This should actually be your default voice. It's easygoing, good-natured. Outside this situation, I'd be a fun person to share a beer with, okay? Even after all of this, maybe we'll be drinking buddies. I can take a joke. Come on, let's hear it. Say something wild. And then the last one, assertive, direct communicator. You would think that this is what most hostage negotiators operate in. It's not. They say that this voice is almost always counterproductive. It's like slapping yourself in the face while trying to make progress. FBI negotiator Chris Voss said, it's like getting hit in the face with a brick, and that is never a great idea. Which it's kind of hard to get out of because most law enforcement officers are trained only in this voice. So to learn that this voice is actually bad, loud, clear commands are actually bad, and it makes people feel attacked, it's going to be very hard to reset your boundaries.
So the first 2 is good.
Yes.
The last one's bad.
The last one is very rarely you need to set a boundary, set it with this voice, but it's only when you need to set incredibly firm boundaries. And then you should kind of ebb and flow between the other 2. Sometimes you need to be a little bit more light-going, then sometimes you need to calm them down and keep them at a place where you know what you're talking about, and just trust me, this is going to be okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And another key important point is 738-55 rule. 7% of messages are conveyed through the words. 38% tone of voice. For example, I'm really impressed by how much you've learned in a short amount of time. I'm really impressed by how much you've learned in a short amount of time. One seems a little more genuine. One is like, I don't know if they're patronizing me or not. I don't know if this is like condescending. But that still leaves 45% of the percentages. What is that? Body language. Now, how do you do that when all you have is a phone? Focus even more on tone. Because once you have a set tone, close your eyes. Hi everyone. Did it sound like I'm smiling?
Yeah.
You can almost picture someone's body language through the way that their voice sounds and their tone. Oh, and one more thing. Veteran negotiator Voss said along the lines of, silence is good. Sit there in silence with the hostage taker. Why? Because you don't sit in silence with people you don't know. You try to fill the silence. You sit in silence with people that you're intimate with. there is a level of intimacy, and you need to manufacture it sometimes. So now they know who's in the apartment, they know the floor plan, they know Aloha and her relationship with the hostage taker, they know who Lindenberg is, they just need to know what the hell he wants. The first call in the hostage negotiation is everything. Two things have to be done. The hostage negotiator has to let them know that they're listening and want to help. And then they have to figure out what the hostage taker wants. So the sergeant, B, puts the phone up to his ear. He's getting ready to introduce himself because you want to introduce yourself by name. And Lindenberg picks up. They're screaming on the other end. And he freaks out. What? Why is there screaming on the other end? Lindenberg is out of breath. Oh, I'm just beating my girlfriend. This Aloha is screaming in the background, I'm not your girlfriend! There's harsh, like, doom, doom from the other side of the line, and he's screaming. Lindenberg is screaming, shut up, shut up, shut up! Aloha's mom would get involved and try to reason with Lindenberg that she could try and talk to Aloha, get her to see his side and get back together with him. Clearly, she's just doing that to get him to release them. But Lindenberg tells her and the authorities, I don't want her back anymore. I want to kill her. That is what he states he wants in the first phone call, to kill the hostage. One former FBI negotiator states, if it's an impossible ask from the hostage taker from the beginning, your hostage is going to be in bad shape. They've made him demand that even if you want to, you can't do it. It's not going to work. It didn't seem like gate agents had control over the situation. They didn't even have control over the media. They were camped outside trying to get zoom lenses to peer into the apartment. There's random crowds of people just gathering outside to see, like, ooh, is something gonna happen? It's a live show. I don't know what they're expecting. People to be released for them to cheer, and then the door to the apartment opens up. They see a foot steps out, then another foot, and another foot, and another foot. The steps get quicker and faster in pace. Step, run down the stairs. The two boys have been freed. Out of nowhere, they were released. The gate agents did not negotiate their release, so how the hell did they get released?
This happened like very early.
Day one, first like 12 hours. Inside the apartment, it was a very messy scene. Lindenberg is standing there, waving his gun around, staring, eyes bugging out at the four hostages. Victor, one of the guys, is on the ground. He's collapsed. Aloha is fanning his face, trying to get him to wake up. The other guy friend is in the corner, pale as somebody can get, like sickly pale, just standing there, cowering. Nayara, Aloha's friend, is trying to reason with the mad gunman, Lindenberg. Look at them, they're getting pale. You don't even know them. They never did anything to you, so just let them go. He pauses. Are you sure that you girls want to be alone in here with me? Without them, you want me to release them? This is a tricky question. Lindenberg likely did not want the boys there, or any guys near Aloha. So it's speculated that he let the boys go because he straight up just does not want boys near Aloha. Aloha stood up though. Yes, I want them gone. Let them leave. And the door swings open, and it was the investigators' very first win. But it was not a negotiation that they even made. The agents surround the two boys. What did Lindenberg say? What did he say he wanted? How was he behaving? They're trying to get all the intel. The boys look at the officers. He's very unstable. He goes from being calm and then assuring us that everything's going to be okay to being aggressive and violent with Aloha. At like the drop of a hat, he switches back and forth. He keeps changing his mind on his game plan, what he wants out of this, what he's going to do next. At first, he said he wanted to kill Aloha. That's all he said he wanted to do. Then he said, no, I'm going to make her suffer by killing all of you in front of her, making her witness all of this. And then the next second, he would change his mind, and then he would scream at the top of his lungs at us, nobody's getting out here alive, understand? And then 2 seconds later, his demeanor would shift and he would be very soft with us and say, guys, don't worry, I'm not actually a bad guy. I'm going to release all of you. Don't stress out. Nobody's going to get hurt. Then he would immediately turn around and start violently beating Aloha, leaving red and purple marks all over her skin. How is Aloha holding up? She's obviously scared, but she's standing her ground. She told him straight up to his face multiple times that she was never getting back with him. Not the best news, not the worst news either. I mean, obviously it's bad. Aloha is being assaulted physically, but authorities were hopeful because Lindenberg's decision to release the two boys was likely Lindenberg trying to resolve the situation sooner rather than later, right? Maybe he's letting them go one by one. He realizes that this is not what he wants. It's not worth it. He's just having what they call a, quote, mental health crisis. And as an upbeat reminder, hostage negotiations are successful 93% of the time. 93. And usually that 7% is because the bad guys, they were never there to make a deal in the first place. They just need to play their cards right, and this is all going to blow over. Okay, so the main thing to remember for the gate agents and another famous negotiator, Gary said, is contain the situation, contain the scene, put a bubble around it. But inside that bubble, have open communications. Contain, but open. Open in a contained environment. That is key. Two parties talking openly and avoid the between hostage negotiator, hostage taker, sometimes a hostage, nobody else. The phone rings into the apartment. Lindenberg still has a gun in his hand and uses the other to pick up the phone. Hello. Hey, Lindenberg, is everything all right in there? Yeah, okay, man. How's it going? Everything okay in there? Let's talk. I want to help you. What I want to tell you is, the captain is reassuring you that you love him. Be sure and try to understand. How's the situation between you and him? We're unraveling things here. I don't want anything to do with her. Tell us something. Why did you decide to do this? Were you desperate? Jealous? Was that it? Lindenberg starts getting complicated. Desperate? Desperate? If I was desperate, I would have shot myself in the face and been done with everything. No, don't do that. Maybe right now. I have no feelings right now. Cold hearted is. She's okay. Hold on, she'll talk to you. Yes, hold on. Hello? Is everything okay? Yes, everything's okay. I want to eat. Do you want to eat lunch? Yes, and wait. Be calm. We talked to Lindenberg. We talked to him again. Is he treating you well? Alone starts crying. Yes, he's treating me well. So trust him. They can't hold on to you. Do you want to say something to your mom? I just want to know how is my family. I just want to say to my mom that I love her and my brother too. I love him too. Be calm. Talk to Lindenberg. He's willing to help you to be soon. Yeah, he said that he will help you. Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Be calm. God, I pray. Lindenberg takes the phone back from Malone and he seems agitated. He keeps asking how they got his number. I'm asking you and you won't respond because I asked you first. Please don't make me nervous. How did you get my phone number? Don't be nervous. We got your number through our managing team. Just say who gave it to you. I just want to know. Why can't I just understand? You gotta consult with your relatives, okay? Lindenberg, are you still there? I wanted everything to happen naturally. That officer shouldn't have been doing what they were doing. What did that officer do? I told them I didn't want anyone to come upstairs, but an officer did, and he rang the bell. We were sleeping, and I jumped up scared, and I almost shot her. Be calm, man, okay? We trust you. We know that you're a good person. We know that you don't want to do anything bad. We trust you. I don't want anyone getting close to the building because I'm telling you, if anyone comes near, that guy, that officer that came here, the captain, I don't know, he rang the bell and I almost shot the girl thinking that he's gonna break into this place. If he did that now, she and I would be dead. Okay, what do you want right now? What are your requests? For now, I'm just thinking about her. She wants to eat something for lunch because she's weak. And she will release alone. Are you planning on releasing her today? Yes, I plan to. I do. But what happens is that the captain is doing everything wrong. He's doing bullshit. I just want everyone to know that I have a bag full of ammunition here, and if anyone comes close, I will shoot. Interesting. The line cuts, and the man on the other line, the one that was having this conversation with Lindenberg, turns to the camera. And there you have it, folks. I'm journalist Louise Guerra, and that was an exclusive interview with Lindenberg, the hostage taker, exclusively on Read TV.
That was a journalist?
He called in to an active hostage taker situation to interview the hostage taker and air it.
Is that okay to do?
No. But everyone's doing it. I don't know if they just didn't have the appropriate laws and the police could not control the journalists. If that happened in America, it would be
crazy.
Yeah, it might have happened in America, I feel. Because crazy things do be happening. But yeah, that was an interview with the journalist.
Você está buscando uma novidade para sua mãe, alguma coisa?
Eu queria perguntar como eu tô ligado.
Tudo bem com eles?
Fez a minha mãe contar.
He actually works under an even bigger journalist who has her own TV show called Sonia Brau. She ends up doing another exclusive interview with Lindenberg. Journalists were able to find Lindenberg's number. They would bribe or ask relatives or former friends of his, and even though they knew it was highly unethical, they would call and interfere with hostage negotiations. Because remember everything I said about being a hostage negotiator? These journalists don't have that kind of training. Even the questions that he was asking, if you listen back, They're instigating it. They're making him get riled up. Why would you do that?
So does Lindenberg know that these are journalists,
Yeah.
reporters?
He knows.
Okay.
And he knows that they're being aired. And he actually quite likes it. Journalist Sonia turns on the camera. The last information that we're getting here is that he is about to surrender to the police. We just talked to them and he said that he will turn himself in, he will release the girls, but he wants the TV cameras from all the channels to capture that moment so that he feels safe and knows that nothing bad will happen to him. In the next minutes, he will come out into... Oh, we're getting a call. She hops on the call with Lindenberg. Look, let me ask you something, Lindenberg. Are you afraid that the police are going to shoot you? Because that's not going to happen. Why would you ask that? Like, what a way to pique someone's anxiety and not do a whole lot to calm them down. Are you afraid of being shot on sight? Don't worry, it's not going to happen. Even though there's armed officers everywhere pointing guns at you, even I just showed a montage of it on my news network of snipers being pointed at you, but don't worry, it's not going to happen, okay? But are you scared? Tell me how scared you are. Lindenberg responds, no, I'm not scared, because before coming into this, I already knew the risk. I was aware of what could happen to me. Now, explain something to me, Lindenberg. I think the whole nation watching, wants to know. You told the other journalists that you want nothing to do with Aloha anymore. So why did you go in the apartment? What did you want from this? Is this revenge? I wanted to resolve things with her. I tried to sit with her to talk things through, but she always turned her back to me and didn't want to listen, so I had to use force to make her listen. I understand. But did you talk to her? Did you tell her everything? You've been in there for more than 30 hours now. I think you've had enough time to tell her everything that you wanted, no? Aloha is now cooperating. Among the 4 people who were here with me, everyone was cooperating but Aloha. She's just starting to cooperate now. How did she not cooperate? Was she too nervous to do so? Yes, and one time she came up and tried some bullshit, trying to take the gun out of my hand. The gun went off inside the apartment. Wow. Good Lord. Wow. If she tries to take the gun from my hands, I will shoot. What did you want to say to Aloha? Can you tell us? I don't think so. This is between me and Aloha. I understand. This is a very intimate thing between the two of you, right? Did you already tell her everything that you wanted to say? So now she's cooperating. Were you able to clear things up about the breakup? I had this conversation with her, and before you called me here, we were talking things over. But every time we sit down to talk, one of us always ends up stressing out about things, and then we have to take a break for things to not get too heated. I think it's all just very difficult right now. I know, but what do you want from Aloha now? I want her to be calm. I want her to make me feel calm. And then I will accept anything that the negotiators say for her to get out of here alive.
So what day is this now? Still first day, second day?
30 hours in.
30 hours in.
Out of 100.
But the police are okay with them calling in? They're not doing anything about it?
They try to get them to stop, but they can't really control every single journalist. And I guess the journalists are not scared of any legal repercussions. I mean, even in the end, the journalists, they just get slapped with a fine. That's about it. And this is crazy. I mean, their ratings were through the roof. Whoever had these conversations with Lindenberg, whoever had exclusive footage, through the roof. Sonia would say, it seems like you are willing to kill Aloha. And that's not true. I know you're not that kind of person, Lindenberg. You're not understanding this. For her to get out alive, I have no intention of killing her. I'm not trying to kill her. No, I'm not saying that you weren't trying to kill her. I said that when you say it like that, like if Aloha needs to get out alive, the police need to do this, people might misinterpret it, and I know that you don't mean it that way. You're not that kind of person. We both want both of you unharmed, correct? People might not believe me, but right now I'm not even thinking about me. I'm thinking about Aloha's life. I believe that. I believe it. I really do. And have you been sleeping? Did you manage to rest? No one is telling me about my mother. I want to hear from my mother. I want to take this opportunity to tell my mom that everything that's going to happen is the best possible way now. Aloha is going to get out of here. I'm going to get out of here and everything will be fine. But it depends on the officers down there. They must not pull that shit again. I don't want anyone to come near this apartment. What if I open the door and there's just one of them waiting for me outside and shoots me? I know how they are. They're smart. I'm scared. No, Lindenberg. No. Don't be scared. Unfortunately, I just don't trust the police. You can be rest assured that the whole nation is praying for you too. Not just for her, but for you too. Everyone is worried about you, Lindenberg, because all the information we got is that you're a good person. No one understands why you're putting yourself and this girl in this dangerous situation. But now that you said that you wanted to talk to her and already did, and you've cleared things up, that's it. That's enough. You already got what you wanted, didn't you? I will put Aloha on the line for everyone to hear that she is okay. Okay. Hello? Hello, Aloha. This is Sonia Abro. Earlier today, you talked to Louise, our journalist. Now we're live. We were talking to Lindenberg right now, and I wanted you to tell us if you're okay. Lindenberg says now that you're more relaxed, you are cooperating. Did you eat lunch? Yes, I ate. And how are you? Your voice sounds better. And how is Lindenberg? He said that you already talked about the breakup. Is Lindenberg hearing us right now? Yes, he's hearing us. Does he know about his sister's message? What message? We heard it just now. We heard that his sister, Lindenberg's sister, Susie, said that if she could talk to Lindenberg right now, she would ask him to turn himself in as soon as possible because their mom and his other sisters are suffering a lot. She said that you two had always gotten along just fine. She said that she has nothing bad to say about him. He doesn't drink or smoke. She even thought that she could get back together. She told us that Lindenberg is the youngest of the siblings, only 22 years old, and yet dreams about and she wants to talk to him if possible. She wants to put an end to this quickly because it's most.
So it's like a lot of talking, but the message is like clear, right? It's not like making this into like a super show. It's just like, sister, is that what's happening? They just want to like create a story.
They want to create a story. The message is very unclear, and it's kind of crazy that even with the journalists, they have the opportunity to talk to the hostage, and just on a human-to-human level, yeah, I understand that they're trying to do their jobs, right, and maybe their livelihoods on the line. But on a human-to-human level, would you not want to know how the hostage is doing and ask questions about them? What if you want to exactly assure them? But even in this opportunity, she's still talking about like Aloha is not ready to do that. That was one thing that a lot of netizens were upset with. Like this whole conversation with Sonia, the fact that she's able to get Aloha on the phone, which hostage takers typically do not let you talk messages back then, and you still talk about how dreams of a family. It's like everything is pointing to Lindenberg to be a good person who did something wrong.
Yeah, well, I think that is trying to portray more bad things, right?
Yes, but it actually backfired. Let me tell you how. So all the press, they're going around painting Lindenberg as a 22-year-old star-crossed lover, correct? Now, a lot of the older general public, because they didn't know the outcome, they didn't know better, they didn't know the full story, they're just seeing little snippets on the news and what the hosts are telling them, they believed that is also true. The police said because of that, they could not be more aggressive with Lindenberg because it would backfire on them. Because if everybody has the perception that this is a young boy, they kept using the word boy in all the news stations, a young boy who just loves a girl and is having a breakdown and is going to regret this, and they shoot him on sight out the window, who's gonna get fired?
Who's gonna get fired?
Yeah,
Wow.
so that's what the police argue later. So they're saying it was like this very toxic cycle of like nothing was getting done by anybody at this point because of how publicized it was in real time. The police even asked the journalist, get all the footage you want, just air it when we resolve it. Like immediately after. Air everything, unedited, uncut, raw footage, whatever.
But there's nothing they can do to stop them.
No.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's just so bizarre. Lindenberg takes the phone back. When Aloha gets out, she's going to take the 2 guns that I have and no ammunition, and I will come out with my hands up. If someone shoots me, no one's going to shoot you, for God's sake. Don't think that way. We want a happy ending to this story. And it's not just me. Everyone out there. The police have no intention of taking anyone's life. On the contrary, they have no reason to take your life, Lindenberg. Don't think like that. So you have family members of the hostages, press, journalists, camera crew trying to get better positioning near the building to get a slightly better shot. Gate hostage negotiation teams, tactical teams, local police departments, neighbors, just any other passerby that just wants to be there. Just a few floors down in an open space right underneath the building where a mad gunman is armed with 2 guns and a baggie of ammo. There's just no way that this is going to end well. And it doesn't. So whether it was for show or show proof of life or to get media attention on this case, Lindenberg would periodically force Aloha to wave out the window. He would use her head to cover his head so a sniper could not get a good shot. He would hold her in place by her neck with a gun pointed at her back. He would force her to stick her head out the window and wave. Sometimes it was a thumbs up. And it was almost always clear that her condition was degrading. Over time, it was getting worse. She looks bruised. She looks abused. She looks mentally exhausted. She looks emotionally traumatized to the fullest extent.
So you're saying hour 30 in, he's talking to these reporters saying that he's gonna let her out, he's gonna walk out. He doesn't want anything, there's no demands. That's it. But he's never doing it.
Yes, and a lot of speculation is because he really enjoyed the media coverage. He wanted more and more interviews. Actually, when he starts negotiating again with hostage negotiators is when journalists are kind of sick of the same interviews over and over. They want new information, they want new developments, they don't want to hear the same thing from him. That's when he starts going back to the negotiators. So it's just absolute chaos. It's just so messy. And Lindenberg is becoming increasingly unhinged. After hour 30, there were girls that were coming up to his window saying, like, we love bad boys, we love you. But then another group of girls saw that, got really upset, and they came next to the window and said, you're a freaking monster, and you deserve, like, punishment. He opened the window, stuck out his gun, and opened fire. He was irritated. Yeah, very irritated.
How is there like girls even allowed to go there? And why are they saying that? Like, I love bad boys.
So, okay, we did research into it, and I was thinking maybe it's the, and I'm gonna mispronounce this word, okay? It's like hysterophilia. It's when serial killers have wives in prison. It's like there is an attraction to the dark criminals because you feel like they're gonna kill other people, but they're not gonna kill me. I'm different. I'm special. Something is not, you know, it's not a normal feeling to have.
It's also the media coverage.
Yes, so I was debating, like, is it that? And I was trying to look into it and cross-reference, like, what they were saying with what a lot of these people feel in their symptoms, and it wasn't matching. So I think it's more so with the media coverage. They really marketed him as just, like, this boy that's so in love. And it's like, of course, every girl wants to have someone who's so in love with her. So it really, the media marketing on this one is just foul. Fortunately, nobody got hurt, but things are quickly escalating. Lindenberg is opening fire on innocent people. I mean, it's truly mayhem. At this point, he just randomly decides to throw soccer team jerseys outside the window. Nobody knows why. There's shots fired. There are crowds cheering. There's girls screaming, "I love bad boys." It's chaos. The soccer coach for that team, that national team, shows up and is like, "Hey, can I help negotiate?" And they're like, I think we're okay. Like, it was just incredibly messy.
And it sounds like there's nobody's taking charge of this.
No. And Lindenberg's sister also arrives at the scene to try and talk to him. They brought an attorney to help negotiate for better conditions for Lindenberg if he gets arrested. They also tried to tell the press, "My brother is very nice and conscious. He just got depressed after the breakup. And now he's making the biggest, dumbest mistake of his life. And she's not worth it. Nobody is. She's gonna get out of there, and his life is gonna be ruined."
She's not worth it.
Yeah. So everything is escalating out of control. The negotiators realize the biggest mistake that they have is that they can't see in the apartment. They can't get a clear view. The whole apartment is blocked. The windows, when they're not open, they're blocked. They can't get a camera in there. They can only call. Lindenberg picks up sometimes, and they hope that when he picks up, he wants to talk. He wants to tell them what's going on. Meanwhile, Lindenberg can see everything going on outside. He can see what the police are saying, what they're prepping, how they're stationed around their building, who they're investigating, what their strategy is, how they think. He can see what the public wants the authorities to do. Is it time to storm in? Do they want Lindenberg to be freed and given a slap on the wrist because it's just a boy in love? They can't see, but Lindenberg can see them. There's one easy way to fix that. Everyone has their cameras pointed up at the apartment, hoping to get another money shot of Aloha out the window. And then it goes dark. The power was shut off by gate agents. In most hostage situations, this is a tactic that is frequently used. It's just to make their lives more inconvenient, forces them to negotiate. And it's interesting, sometimes when you take away something, give it back, but with enough mind games, you actually make the hostage taker feel like you're giving them something. But in reality, you took it away and you're just giving it back. You're using it as, "I will give you this for that." They already had that. It's crazy. Yeah, so that's why they do that. But it seems like for this situation, they turned it off so that he can't watch the news. And Lindenberg is pissed. He calls them, "Turn the lights back on." "I will, but let's talk. Turn the light on, otherwise I'll start hitting the girls. I'm going to start attacking these girls. The girls are going to suffer, and pay close attention." Aloha starts screaming in the background of the call, begging him to stop. Lindenberg is literally assaulting Aloha while on the phone with negotiators. Now, after the power goes out, Aloha's mom gets an call. It's time from Aloha. She almost drops her phone trying to answer it as quickly as possible. Honey, are you okay?" "Mom, do you trust me?" "Of course I trust you. I always trusted you." "So please, tell them to turn the power back on." Aloha's mom didn't know what to do or even what to say, because on one hand, she knows Aloha is in danger if she doesn't do anything. On the other hand, she knows that Lindenberg is forcing her to call her right now. If the power is back on, if he gets what he wants, is Aloha's mom helping prolong the situation? Is Aloha's mom helping him win? Before she can respond, her husband, Aloha's dad, grabs the phone and screams, "No, honey, they can't turn it back on. They can't." And the line goes down. At the hour 32 mark, an exchange is made. An eye for an eye. Well, not entirely, but it's something. The negotiators will turn the lights back on, and Lindenberg will open the door to the apartment. Someone is seen running down the hallway to the stairs. The pacing gets faster and faster. Down the stairs and into the crowd of people surrounding that person outside. Her family is surrounding her, smelling her hair, making sure they're scanning her entire body, looking for any serious wounds. Journalists are trying to squeeze through each other, trying to get the best angle, best shot. The police need to rush her to the hospital. Nayara was free, meaning the only one left in the apartment now was Aloha. Some said that was a sign. The two boys, Nayara, they're all out. Some say that means Aloha's gonna be out. Others said, no, he went in there for Aloha. That's what he went for to begin with. That's the only one he cared about when he took him hostage. His words in the beginning were, "I'm gonna kill her." 10 p.m., the lights turn back on. 11:30 p.m., the door opens. Nayara runs out of the complex. She's rushed to the hospital with minor injuries. She is processing a lot of trauma. The hostage negotiators talked to her for 6 hours after her release. They just want to know everything. They want to be filled in for the past 34 hours. Kept the girls apart. Every day he would put one in the bedroom, one in the living room. They were both paired up, blindfolded. They couldn't see anything from the